Hello, everyone. There are places in the world where time itself seems to stand still, where the air feels heavy with the weight of ancient secrets, and where even the bravest souls hesitate to step foot. Among these places lies a tomb so mysterious, so shrouded in legend, that it has never been opened, not for centuries, not for millennia. The tomb rests in silence, guarded not only by stone and soil, but by fear itself, fear of what might be released if its seal is ever broken. Some say inside rests a great treasure, others whisper of an unspeakable curse, a force waiting patiently in the darkness. This is the story of that tomb, of those who tried to approach it, of those who dared to defy warnings etched in forgotten languages, and of the strange events that continue to surround it. The tomb in question lies deep within a desolate valley far from any thriving city. It was discovered centuries ago by wandering traders who stumbled upon carvings half buried in sand. The entrance appeared ordinary at first glance, a stone doorway carved with symbols of serpents and suns. Yet the closer they looked, the stranger it became. No dust seemed to settle upon the door. No vines or roots dared to climb across its surface. Even in the harshest storms, the entrance remained untouched, as if nature itself refused to trespass. The traders left, shaken but curious, telling stories of their find to anyone who would listen. Over time, the tale of the tomb spread like wildfire, drawing explorers, scholars, and fortune-seekers. Early inscriptions warned of a curse. Carvings near the base of the doorway depicted rows of kneeling figures with eyes hollowed out, their hands raised in surrender, while towering above them was a shadowy figure with arms stretched wide. Below, ancient words were etched in a script few could read, but scholars who later translated them found chilling messages. They spoke of eternal guardianship, of punishment for the greedy, of a protector who would rise if the tomb was ever disturbed. Legends said that the one buried within was not merely human, but something more, a ruler or priest who had made a pact with forces that defied the natural order centuries past, yet the tomb remained sealed. Stories tell of rulers who attempted to force entry, sending workers with hammers and chisels to break through the stone, only to meet with strange accidents. One group was buried alive when the scaffolding collapsed without reason. Another reported hearing screams echoing from within the walls, so horrifying that they fled and never returned. Even skilled engineers who inspected the site admitted that the doorway was unlike anything they had ever seen. It was not merely blocked with stone, but fused, as though the rock itself had grown together to hide what lay beyond. The fear surrounding the tomb grew with every attempt to uncover it. Locals began avoiding the valley altogether, claiming the land itself was cursed. Farmers who grazed their cattle nearby reported animals disappearing or returning sickly and weak. Some nights, strange lights flickered across the surface of the tomb, glowing faintly as though something inside stirred. Travelers described feeling watched, their dreams haunted by figures cloaked in shadows. Soon, the tomb was left alone, marked on maps but untouched. A forbidden place whispered about in hushed tones around fires in the 19th century. Interest in the tomb reignited. Archaeological expeditions sought to uncover its secrets, believing it to hold treasures comparable to those of Egypt or Mesopotamia. One famous explorer, Captain Harold Winslow, led a team determined to document and open the site. Winslow's journals, later found among his belongings, detail eerie events from the very first day. He described sudden drops in temperature near the doorway, equipment that failed without explanation, and the unsettling sensation of being observed from within the tomb itself. On one night, he claimed to hear chanting, low and rhythmic, resonating from behind the sealed stone. His team laughed at him, but within days 2 of his men had vanished without a trace, their tents left untouched. Their boots still by the fire, Winslow pressed on despite mounting fear. He ordered his men to carve through the stone, but the tools snapped as if striking iron. The door remained unyielding, mocking their efforts. Desperate, Winslow tried explosives, only to find that the charges misfired or fizzled as though swallowed by the air. On the night of his final entry, Winslow wrote that he dreamed of a figure wrapped in golden cloth, its eyes burning like embers, standing over him with an outstretched hand. He awoke to find the door glowing faintly, the carvings seeming to shift in the moonlight. The next day, the expedition vanished entirely, leaving behind scattered supplies and journals, but no trace of the men themselves. Their disappearance became one of the many unsolved mysteries tied to the tomb. Modern researchers have returned time and again, drawn by curiosity, ambition, or obsession. Some come armed with technology, using ground-penetrating radar and scanners to peer beyond the stone. What they find unsettles them even further. The tomb appears to extend far deeper than expected, stretching into chambers that twist and coil like a labyrinth. One scan revealed what appeared to be a massive sarcophagus at the very heart, surrounded by smaller rooms. Yet each attempt to probe deeper ends in failure. Equipment short circuits, batteries drain instantly, and recordings capture static, laced with faint whispers. Scientists cannot explain why machinery fails so consistently within the valley. There are theories, of course. Some believe the tomb was designed with advanced knowledge of traps and barriers, protecting it from intrusion. Others suggest a natural anomaly, such as magnetic interference, creates the strange effect. But then there are those who believe in the curse. They point to the warnings carved into the stone, the legends of the priest who bound himself to powers beyond comprehension, and the deaths and disappearances that continue to plague anyone who comes too close even today. The tomb remains unopened. Governments have considered sealing the valley entirely, declaring it off-limits, though adventurers still sneak in under cover of night. Some leave shaken, claiming they heard whispers or saw figures moving within the fog that rolls through the valley. A few never leave at all, their fate joining the long line of tragedies tied to the tomb. And so, the site stands silent, a question mark carved into the earth, daring the bold and foolish alike to break its seal as the modern age pushed forward with satellites, drones, and advanced scanning equipment. The tomb drew even more attention. Scientists hoped to use technology to explain what centuries of superstition could not. But the results were only more disturbing. Teams reported interference with communications, unexplained static filling their radios, and drones falling from the sky as though something had swatted them down. One archaeologist noted that the closer equipment came to the tomb's sealed entrance, the more distorted the data became until shapes appeared on their screens that could not be real. Twisting forms like serpents coiling around the chambers, shadows moving as if alive. A documentary team once attempted to film a special at the site. Their footage was never aired. Those who handled the raw recordings said the tapes contained flickering figures that had not been seen by the naked eye. Shapes moved in the background of shots, some towering, others whispering at the edge of microphones. One cameraman allegedly went blind in one eye after standing too close to the tomb, claiming he had seen a golden figure staring directly back at him. The production company quietly shelved the project, but rumors of the cursed footage leaked and only fueled the legend. Further local traditions surrounding the tomb warn of offerings. Villagers in the region, despite avoiding the valley, sometimes leave small items at its edge. Bowls of grain, carved amulets, or even drops of blood from livestock. They believe this appeases the guardian spirit within, ensuring that the tomb remains sealed and that nothing stirs in the darkness. Elders whisper that on nights when the moon is hidden, the sound of chanting still carries on the wind, as though the priest within continues his rituals across eternity. Some claim these offerings have prevented disaster, pointing to years when explorers attempted to force the tomb and plagues of sickness soon followed in nearby settlements. Not all dismissed the warnings. In the early 2000s, a group of wealthy collectors funded a covert operation to open the tomb, convinced treasures lay within. Their leader, a man named Victor Darren, recorded his expedition on digital logs. He described strange dreams leading up to their journey, visions of endless corridors, hands reaching out from shadows, and a sarcophagus that glowed with inner light. Upon arrival, his team worked tirelessly, employing high-powered drills and laser cutters against the stone. But the door resisted, its surface absorbing heat and pressure without any visible damage. Then, after days of futile attempts, something shifted. According to Darren's notes, the carvings on the door seemed to bleed, the hollow eyes of the etched figures filling with crimson liquid that dripped down the stone. The team fled in panic, abandoning their tools, and within weeks most of them suffered mysterious illnesses. Darren himself vanished during a later trip to the region. His body never recovered. Theories continue to circulate. Some claim the tomb contains a body preserved by unknown methods, perhaps even a king or sorcerer whose knowledge surpassed that of his age. Others argue it does not contain a body at all but a vessel, a prison meant to hold something dangerous, something not of this world. The warnings etched into stone may not be exaggerations, but instructions left by those who understood what they had bound away. One chilling idea suggests that the tomb is not meant to be opened because it does not hold death but life, an entity waiting, patient and timeless, for release. Those who have camped near the tomb often describe a phenomenon they call the Night of Whispers. Just before dawn, voices rise from the valley, hundreds speaking at once in a language no one understands. Some swear the voices match those of people they know or have lost, drawing them toward the sealed entrance. A few have followed, only to return days later in a daze, unable to explain where they went. Others never return at all. Psychologists argue this is mass suggestion, the power of belief shaping the mind. But for those who have heard it, there is no doubt that something alive speaks from within. Attempts to study the tomb remotely have also failed. Satellite images sometimes show the valley clearly, while at other times it appears as a blank void, the ground seemingly erased. Maps glitch, data vanishes, and files corrupt when stored too close to the images. Even professional historians admit frustration at the inconsistency. The tomb, it seems, chooses when to allow itself to be seen. One researcher described it as a breathing presence, not a monument of stone, but a living anomaly stitched into the land. Despite endless warnings, there remains the temptation to open it. Wealth, glory, the promise of discovery, these lure ambitious souls like moths to a flame. Yet those who return rarely speak of what they experienced, and those who do are haunted forever. They talk of dreams that will not end, of hearing footsteps in their homes at night, of glimpsing the golden, cloaked figure in mirrors and windows. One woman confessed that she had seen her own reflection replaced by a corpse with glowing eyes. Another man was found carving the symbols from the tomb into the walls of his house, muttering that the guardian was coming for him, and so the tomb remains sealed and silent, yet not forgotten. Scholars debate its origins, scientists puzzle over its anomalies, and storytellers keep its legend alive. Perhaps one day someone will succeed in forcing it open, and when they do, the world will learn the truth. But the question is whether humanity is prepared for that truth. For if the legends are right, the tomb does not simply guard treasure, it guards the boundary between our world and something far darker. Until that day, it lies in waiting, a silent reminder of how much remains hidden in the earth, how many secrets time has chosen not to share. The unopened tomb is more than just stone and mystery. It is a challenge, a warning, and perhaps a final test for those who cannot resist the allure of forbidden knowledge. And maybe, just maybe, some doors are better left sealed forever. Thank you for watching. And if you found this story chilling and mysterious, don't forget to subscribe to Moon Cipher for more journeys into the unexplained, where every story hides a secret and every shadow tells a tale. Stay curious, stay cautious, and remember, some mysteries are not meant to be solved.